In this video, I'm going to share recipes and kitchen organization from a morning in my kitchen. I'm going to share my appliance cabinet. I'm going to share my plates and bowls cabinet. I'm going to share all of these recipes that I make today here in this video this morning. And then I'm also going to show you the organization that you see on your screen right now, just as a part of making those recipes. I'm really glad you're here. Here's a glimpse at the start of the morning before I get baking and cooking and planning for the day. I wanted to start with these bananas. We go through a lot of bananas for smoothies and banana bread, and the first thing that I always grab when I grab these bananas to freeze them are these jars. I store them in that cabinet with their lids already on. And so when I freeze bananas for smoothies at a later date, I slice them up, I put them on a rack, and I put them in the freezer for a day before I bag them up. But I save the peels. I put the peels in the jars and add water, cover the peels with water, and then put the lid back on and put them on my counter for 3 days. And it makes potassium water for my indoor plants. It's not a replacement for fertilizer, but it does give my plants a boost. My daughter swung through the kitchen and realized I was freezing bananas for smoothies and requested a smoothie. So she is making a smoothie with banana, an entire banana, 6 strawberries, 1 scoop of chocolate protein powder. She likes this veggie original formula, chocolate or vanilla. And then she adds apple juice. We've tried it with oat milk. We've tried it with water. We've tried it with fruit juice, but she really likes it with the apple juice. Made enough for 2 smoothies, so she's going to share with her older brother, who also likes morning smoothies after breakfast. Usually they eat kind of a smaller breakfast and then swing back either for second breakfast or a smoothie. My goal in this video is to show you organization as I go along through these recipes. So this is our appliance cabinet where we keep the blender base, and then the blender itself with the blade usually lives in the dishwasher or the drying rack because we make smoothies nearly every day. Back to the bananas. This is how they ended up sliced and in the freezer for a day. And then what I'll do is bag them and add them to this blue bin. So in our freezer, this blue bin here has all different kinds of frozen fruit for smoothies that we make every day. I try to use food waste as much as possible or get it out into the compost pile if I'm not going to use it for something like plant water or vegetable scraps that I save for a broth base. This is my 7-year-old. He's doing his morning chore. He has the same chore every day. He empties the dishwasher. My oldest does the tidy of the living room, and then my daughter does the tidy of the rest of the house on the main level. It is a grocery day for us, so we're down to the last of the last here in our refrigerator. I've got a little bit of broccoli rabe left, and I have no other vegetables. I have some frozen vegetables that I could use, but I am trying to just kind of get everything organized and cleaned up in the refrigerator for grocery pickup today, and use up this chocolate granola that my husband bought. So I decided to use up the rest of the Greek yogurts that are in there and just make yogurt parfaits with the chocolate granola, and then I added some frozen strawberries to it. And then I will put these 3 yogurt parfaits in the refrigerator, and myself or my husband will have them as snacks. The kids don't really like yogurt parfaits. They like the plain yogurt, but this yogurt's been sitting in this fridge long enough that I wanted to do something with it to make sure it didn't go to waste. After years of decluttering, these are the plates that we're down to now that I'm putting away. This is our plates cabinet. I have 8 big plates and 8 medium salad portion size plates, and I can't believe we haven't run out. There's always been a couple left in the cabinet. I thought I would have to buy more of these Corelle plates, but I haven't. And then here's the bowls. They're down in the kids' cabinet so the kids can reach. The clean as you go tidy tip that you get on so many cleaning and decluttering channels really is true. If you clean as you go, the mess is easier to deal with. So this is my recipe binder. It has fallen apart so many times over the years, and I just keep taping it. I don't know why I don't just treat myself to a new binder or digitize my recipes. I don't really do well with digital recipes. I like a printed version. So the front of my binder, here's how I organize. The front of my binder has kind of cheat sheets of quick meals, and then each one of these tabs has a type like chicken or beef or brunch. And then at the beginning of each section, each tab, I have a table of contents for every section. So I can just scan down and find a chicken recipe that I want to make. And each of these recipes is in the order on the table of contents. I'm trying to use up the rest of the potatoes in a potato salad, so I wanted to show you my oils on the left and my vinegars on the right. This is a shelf in my pantry. So I have that spin caddy for my oils, and then all of my vinegars are then just sort of stacked on the right. And for any kind of veggie scraps, I have a freezer bag that I add to throughout the week. So potato scraps, carrot scraps, celery, the skins of onions, all of that goes in a freezer bag throughout the week, and I keep it in the freezer. And then when I am ready to make vegetable broth, I grab that freezer bag of vegetable scraps, and it makes the tastiest vegetable broth. I have everything prepped and pulled out for the potato salad. I will share a recipe card with you. I'm going to move on to starting the bread to get it proofing. I have my Kitchenaid mixer on my counter. I keep it in the back corner, but I have it on a felt sliding pad, and then on the back of it, I have this cord organizer. It makes it so easy to slide in this heavy duty kitchen appliance and use it. Before, when I kept it in the cabinet, I really didn't use it as often because it was too heavy and cumbersome to try to get out. And then I now have all my Kitchenaid attachments organized right underneath where I keep the Kitchenaid. So that's really helpful for me from an organization standpoint to have everything right there. I am making a dairy-free mini loaf today. I should have used a mini loaf pan, but I don't have one. So I'm using my cocktail loaf pan, but I should have doubled the recipe and I didn't. So it comes out kind of weird and like a biscotti, but that's okay. I mix all my ingredients, and I will share a recipe card here with you now for that. While that yeast is activating, I am going to start to prep the chicken. I just cut it down into smaller sizes for the cast iron pan, put salt, pepper, and paprika onto both sides of the chicken breast. I've heated up oil in the cast iron pan. I have strained out the potatoes, and in a hot pan with the potatoes, I add the vinegar, the onions, the olive oil, salt, and pepper, and just stir it around in the hot pan, and then let it cool down in a container before I put it in the fridge. And I just gave you that information in a rapid fire fashion. So here's the recipe card for the potato salad. For the chicken, I just 1 to 2 minutes on each side. I've got a garlic butter sauce that I'm going to pour on top. That's garlic, poultry seasoning, Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, paprika, and 4 tablespoons of butter. I use dairy-free butter because of my daughter, but you can just use regular butter. Pour it over and then bake it in the oven in your cast iron pan at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. My daughter has requested pesto and sourdough bread as a appetizer for lunch, or just lunch number 1 before lunch number 2. That's the thing that happens when we are home all the time. So my bread yeast and warm water has been activating. So now I'm ready to add the flour. It's about 1.5 cups of flour that gets added into the mixer, and then the dough hook does its job for 3 minutes. During that 3 minutes, my 7-year-old requested cheese and chips. He calls it cheese and chips, where we put it in the microwave for 20 seconds. So my mixer, I just wipe it down with a wet paper towel cleaner if I need it, and then I just rewrap the cord, and it slides so easily one-handed back into the corner. This has been a really good change in my kitchen from an organization standpoint, because it just makes it easier for me to use the thing that I use so often. Since my oven's being used for the chicken, I just put the dough to rise in a bowl, oiled bowl, underneath the lights of my kitchen. I have this little notebook that I reference throughout all of the weeks that I meal plan, that I keep by my cookbooks here in the window. And that just helps me stay on track of the things that I had intended to do for the day, especially if I'm planning ahead for car meals. It just helps us avoid convenience foods or spending extra money dining out if I can prepare in advance. And my daughter swung back for some more pesto and sourdough bread. It's one of her favorite snacks. We're about out of pesto. I got to start growing my basil. The chicken spent about 22 minutes in the oven, and it came out so perfect. It's so delicious every time I make this. I served it today with a little bit of the potato salad and some peas for me and the kids. Cleaning the cast iron pan, I just use a little scrub brush that's only for cast iron, and I don't use soap and water. And then I put it in the oven to get the moisture out of it. After it cools down, I season it with avocado oil, and I have 2 cast iron pans. So I just re-season them every time I use at least one of them. And then I put it in the oven at 450 degrees to season it for the next time. The bread came out so weird. It's like a biscotti. I should have made it in a mini loaf, or I should have doubled the recipe. But either way, it came out fine for today, and it tastes fine, it slices fine, and it was great with butter. So I will either just double the recipe next time or just use a smaller pan. So I washed and dried this pan, and I just wanted to show you where I put it. This is the shelf for baking pans. This is the shelf for food storage and a mixing bowl. This has all my Kitchenaid stuff right here. And then there's a couple serving plates and then a pitcher. I recently organized this cabinet using the 50% rule, and it's been so easy to get the pans in and out. I'll leave a link right here for that video. I hope you're doing well, and I'm so glad you spent time with me today. Take care.